All right, P1, real numbers.
Properties of algebra.
First problem say to find the decimal form with the rational number, or for the rational number, and state whether it repeats or terminates. So number 2, 15 over 99. Anybody know what that is? Might need a calculator to divide some of these. Because I'm going to be real. I don't know that off the top of my head. I have a guess, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
15 over 99, let's see.
5 over 33.
Point 151.
Okay. So, 0.15. Oops. With a line over it, because it's what kind of a decimal? Repeating. So this one repeats. Number 4, 5 over 37. I don't really need copies of those ones. Just one is good. 5 over 37 is what?
5 over 37. 1.135.
So what kind of decimal is this? So 0.135 repeating. So this is a repeating decimal as well. Okay. Next thing. Says to describe and graph the interval of real numbers. So for the first one, number 8, they give us in brackets the interval from -3 to 3. As far as the describe part, they basically just want you to say the interval from -3 to 3. So I don't really care if you do that. Like, I don't know. I mentally just do that anyways. But we have to graph it on a number line. So when we do that, we set up our little number line here. Always put 0 on there, especially if it's in the interval that we're dealing with, just so that we have it as kind of like just like a reference point. And then we need to go from -3 to 3. And if it was like out to like 75, obviously you don't need to do like every single little tick mark, just kind of like show what it is. So if it's from -3 to 3, how am I graphing this on the number line?
By doing a bracket by -3, so then I'm at 3, and then a solid line all over here.
Yep, so we have a bracket here and a bracket here and the line in the middle. And if you want to use a different color so it's easier to see, that's fine.
I just make the
Or
line really quick.
to like color over it or whatever, just make sure I can tell clearly where you have it. Number 10 is one given to us in words. So this one says x is greater than or equal to 2 and less than or equal to 6. So let's rewrite this first in inequality notation since it's given to us in words. So how would I rewrite the x is greater than or equal to 2 part?
This over
X is greater than like 2.
Yep. So x greater than or equal to 2. How about the second part?
And then you would just
Same thing.
just put 6. Oh, do another sign and put 6 in front of it.
But this one's what?
Oh,
Less than. So it's going to be x is less than or equal to 6, which obviously we could write this one all as 1 as well, but just for the visual of it. So I'm going to set up my number line again.
Let's
I'm
fix that
putting
X.
0 on there for a reference point.
Oh, yay. I learned how to do it by
So
figuring
now, which way are we graphing this? Like, what does it look like?
Put parentheses. Wait. Yeah.
So if it's or equal to, which one are we using? Parentheses or brackets?
Oh, brackets.
Yep, brackets
And
for
if
or
it's
equal to.
Greater than alone, it's parentheses.
No. Oh, yes. If it doesn't have the line under it, then it's parentheses. So which way is this going?
A bracket from 2 to 6. Well, it's all on.
Yep. So bracket this way, and it's going between.
This was like a plane.
All right. The next one, say to use an inequality to describe the interval of real numbers. Okay, so make sure with these questions that you pay very close attention to the wording of what it's asking you for so that you do the correct thing. Okay, the last ones were asking you to graph it. These ones are asking you to use an inequality to describe the interval. So 12, they give us, it's a parentheses, negative infinity to 4, and a bracket. So if I need to write this in inequality notation, how would I do this?
Oh yeah, by just doing an arrow starting at like negative infinity, right? Because it never ends. You just do an
Inequality
arrow, and
notation.
then it ends with the bracket at 4.
Inequality notation.
Oh, inequality. You do negative infinity. X is smaller than X, and then you do then 4 is greater than or equal to X. So you first have negative infinity, then you just have the sign without the line underneath, and then you have
Which way? Less than or greater than?
it's smaller.
So less
So
than.
And then you'd have X, and then you have is smaller than or equal to 4.
Okay, this is one way you can do it. I would not write it this way. I would write it this way. X is less than or equal to 4. That implies that it's going all the way to negative infinity. But it's technically right either way. It's just how I would do it. 14. This one, they give us a number line. And it's set up like this. There is a bracket at -2 facing inward, and it is a parentheses at +2, and it's filled in between. So if I'm going to write this one in inequality notation, how do I do it? Don't mess with that one.
Oh, is that you that wrote that? I thought it was Can I do this?
No.
No?
We need to put the Rubik's Cubes away. We need to be paying attention. The Rubik's Cubes are for when we're done.
So I'm gonna put
Why can't we do the one with circles? Or
What?
Would you put 2 is greater than?
But
or
it's
X
not
is less,
solved.
X is less than or equal to. X is greater than or equal to -2, and X is less than or equal to 2. Or no.
This is a parentheses. I know it's kind of hard to tell on the
less than
screen.
2.
Less than 2. So this would be -2, less than or equal to X, less than 2. Would be how we do this.
Do you teach 7 different classes?
Yes. All right. The next one, say to use interval notation to describe the interval of real numbers. So interval notation now. 18 says -7 is less than X is less than -2. So if I want to rewrite this as an interval, how would I do that, or like what would it look like?
Like on the thing?
Interval notation.
Parentheses, -7, comma, -2, parentheses.
Yep.
Why parentheses?
Because it's just less than.
Oh yeah.
All right, how about this one, number 22? X is positive.
Okay. So, negative infinity. But what are we basing this off of?
Positive infinity.
Exactly what it says. Interval notation.
So we just say x is smaller than positive infinity. Oh no, wait, bigger than negative infinity.
What notation are we using, class?
The inequality.
No, what notation are we using for these problems? Same as the last question. Interval notation. So how do I need to write this one?
Brackets.
Brackets, negative infinity, another comma, then x.
No, it's just the 0 to infinity.
0 to infinity. Is 0 a positive number? Is 0 a positive number?
Yes.
No. 0 is not positive. It is not negative. So we have to do a parentheses. 0 to infinity. And
But it
infinity
said-
can never have a bracket on it.
I just said x is positive. Where's x in that? Or where is it gonna be?
Anywhere from 0 to infinity.
Right, but like, and when it just says
But-
like,
It's just like this.
how did you know it's there? 'Cause it came in there.
Oh,
I was just kind of
Well, wait,
confused.
the fact you actually were just
Like I prefer when you write it as number 18.
Yeah.
Well, that's how the book writes it. And I'm not going to write them all the same way. Every problem's written differently.
Put that in like a ball template.
All right. Next thing. Convert to inequality notation. So what notation are we using? Inequality notation. Find the endpoints and state whether the interval is bounded or unbounded and its type. Okay, so this is where you're going to have to refer back to your notes that you have to look at some of this. So they give us number 30 from -3 to -1. How do I write that as an inequality?
-3 smaller than.
Less
x.
than.
Less than. So just without the line, which is smaller than.
Less than.
Less than.
Okay. Now it says find the endpoints. What are the endpoints of
there
this?
are no endpoints because it's parentheses. Or what?
Endpoints are -3 and -1.
No, because they're never equal to that.
That's where it starts again. It's still
Is this bounded or unbounded?
Unbounded. Is it unbounded or bounded?
unbounded.
Unbounded.
It's
I
bounded.
was right. It's bounded. What?
When is it unbounded?
When it's real numbers.
Unbounded is when it's at infinity. It's somewhere in your notes. I don't know. And what type is it? Is it open or closed? Or half open or half closed? Open.
Can I buy a DVCS Comptron after?
Yes, when we're done. 32. Same instructions. I have a bracket, -6 to infinity with parentheses. So how would I write this one in inequality notation?
Okay, -6 is less than x, which is less than infinity. Oh yeah, less than or equal to.
So x is
X
greater than or equal to
less than.
-6. We aren't writing infinities if we're doing inequality notation.
Yeah. And it's.
Does it have any
unbounded.
endpoints?
Unbounded.
Does it have any
On one
endpoints?
side, and then bounded on the other.
-6 is the endpoint.
But then it's unbounded on the other side, right?
My question was, are there endpoints? I haven't gotten to the next thing yet. Now, is it bounded or unbounded?
Unbounded.
Unbounded. And is it open, closed, half open?
Half open.
No? She said no.
Half open.
It's closed. If there's an infinity and that has a bracket, it's closed. In this table.
Explain.
Oh. She's
Whenever there's a bracket and an infinity. Oh, whenever there's a bracket.
A bracket with an infinity or negative infinity is closed. Versus if it was like a number with a bracket and then another number with a parentheses, that's half open. Okay, next questions. Use the distributive property to write the factored form or the expanded form of the given expression. Should be relatively easy. 38 in parentheses, we have y minus z cubed times c. What does that expand to? Yep.
it?
Yep. 40. A cubed z plus a cubed w. How do I factor this one?
You do the box method. Right?
You take out.
Would it be A?
Take out an a cubed. And that leaves me with what?
Z plus W.
Z plus w. Okay, simplify the expression. Assume that the variables in the denominators are non-zero. 48. On the top, we have in parentheses 3x squared. Close the parentheses. That whole thing is squared. Y to the fourth over 3y squared. So what do I need to do first with this one?
We need to divide, multiply.
Multiply the exponents
By y
where?
to the power of 4.
3x to the 4th.
So it'd be 3x to the fourth.
No, 3x to the.
Or
Yeah.
3x to the 4th.
So what happens when an exponent is on a parentheses?
It's the whole thing.
It goes on the whole thing. So what should that be?
9x to the
Oh.
4th.
9x to the fourth.
And then you multiply.
So we
by
have,
y to the
hold on. So 3 squared is 9, that's where we got that from. And then we need to remember, because sometimes people get confused about this, we multiply the exponents here. So that's x to the fourth. So I'm saying that just to make sure y'all weren't adding them in your head. But you multiply them. And then I have y to the fourth over 3y squared. Now what do I do?
Divide it by 3y squared. Oh no, you multiply it out.
Could you subtract?
Do you multiply it
It
out?
would be y from the y to the, or y to the fourth to the bottom. You subtract it.
Would be 6.
Can't you just multiply by 3y squared?
Is it 6x to the 4th?
Okay, ignore all the variables. What does that equal to?
Oh, simplify it.
3, okay? So I have 3.
X.
There's only x's on the top, so I'm going to do that. Now what do I do with this y to the fourth over y squared part?
You put it down. You bring that y to the 4th down. And
That's going to give me negative exponents. Can't have that.
So it's what? So you bring the y squared up, so then it's
yeah.
What does that give me then?
y squared.
Y squared. And then you're done. Let's do one that's a little harder than that. 52. Alright, in parentheses, 4a cubed b divided by a squared b cubed. And then another parentheses, 3b squared over 2a squared b to the 4th. Where do we think I should start with this one, or where do y'all want to start? There's a couple different ways you can go about it.
Bring the a squared like up. So it's just.
Oh no, you
4a.
cross multiply.
Yo.
This is not cross multiplying. So, Tristan, which a squared are you talking about?
The one on the left, like the first.
The one on the left. So you want me to work in here first?
Yeah.
Okay. So you want me to move this one to the top? Okay.
And the b to the bottom.
So a is going to the top, b is going to the bottom. So I get 4a over b squared.
Wait, it's not. Oh, yeah.
What about the second one?
Just bring the b down.
So I have 3 over 2a squared b squared. Now what?
So multiply it.
Which is going to give me what?
It's 4.
A over 2a squared b to the 4th.
Am I done?
No.
No.
What else can I do?
Divide. Or you guys multiply. 6a over a squared b.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't have a variable that's like on the top and the bottom, so I need to move something. So what should I do?
The a on the top to the bottom. So
Yep, and that's where you would leave it. Everything simplified as much as possible. All right, a couple scientific notation problems and then we'll be done. Write the number in scientific notation. So this one says the electric charge in coulombs of an electron is about, and then it gives you this number. I'm just writing the number. I'm not writing the whole thing, just letting you know. So 58, it is negative 0.000 000 000 000
Oh, wow.
000 000 000 000
Writing all.
I don't have.
16.
That's like not even a number.
I tried to group them for you so it's a little easier to see. So if I want to write this in scientific notation, how would I do that?
You'd say
Hmm?
you would
1.6 and then negative 19.
No.
The 1.6 part's right. Well, sort of.
Times 10.
Times-
negative.
Don't forget about the negative sign. That's out front. What do I do now? What scientific words? Pause.
10.
10.
Scientific notation is always what? Yes, times 10.
So 19.
19. Whoopsies.
Negative 19.
But you see, if it's negative, put a sign in front of the number and on the exponent.
No, that's because of the direction that it's moving. So we moved this way.
Uh,
I'm just gonna, anyways. So if you're moving that way, so if you got a really like small number, it's gonna have negative. If it's a really big number, then it'll have a positive. So like, well, we're gonna work backwards because there's literally like 2 of each of these questions. Number 60 is the reverse. So it gives you the number and it wants you to write it out with all the zeros. So it's 6.73 times 10 to the 11th. So if it is a positive exponent, we move the decimal to the right. If it's a negative exponent, we move it to the left. So I would have for this one 6, and then it's 73, so that's 2 decimal places, and then I need 9 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it'll be like that. So if it's a big number that we're making smaller, it's a positive exponent. If it's a small number that we're making look bigger, then it's a negative exponent. All right, last one. 64. 3.7 times 10 to the negative 7 times 4.3 times 10 to the 6th divided by 2.5 times 10 to the 7th. So any ideas what I need to do?
I would do the bottom first.
Do what?
Wait. I mean,
Yeah.
I would write everything
Definitely
out,
not do that.
and then I multiply, and then
So let me pause you. If you have things that are the same base, what do you do with their exponents? If you're like multiplying two numbers. Like if you had like a cubed times a to the 4th, what are you gonna do?
Add 'em.
You would tell me it's a to the 7th, okay? So would you agree that up here, these two things have the same base?
Yep.
So what do I do with their exponents? Add them. So I'm going to end up with, on top, 3.7 times 4.3 times 10 to the negative 1 over 2.5 times 10 to the 7th. Now, the only time I can ever have negative exponents is in scientific notation. So what do you think I might need to do?
bring the 10 to the 7 up.
Yep, I'm going to bring it to the top. So that's going to end up giving me, I'm going to try to save from having to write all of this. So times 10 to the negative 8. So then somebody with your calculator do 3.7 times 4.3 divided by 2.5. 6.364. And with scientific notation, we typically only want one decimal place, but and more so in keeping with significant figures. If you left it like that, that's fine, but I would also take it like this, 6.4 times 10 to the negative 8, because that would be technically significant figures with scientific notation. But this isn't a significant figures class, so I won't take off if you don't do that.
Yes.
All right, your problems are, and that's what you should use the rest of class time to do. When I can find the right page that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
1 through 21, every other odd. So, in case you don't know, that's like 1, skip 3, 5, skip 7, 9, so on and so forth.
Can you scroll down?
29, 37, 39, 47, 51, 57, 61, and 63. And this is one of your longer homework assignments just because there's a lot in this section because these are review sections.
159?
Like 1 through 21, every other odd. So it's 1, skip 3, 5, skip 7, 9, skip 11, 13, so on and so forth.
And then 29 all the way up to 62.
The numbers that are listed.
I was just
And
like
the
going
book,
ahead in
right?
the notes last night, and when I got to P.6, I didn't see like an attachment.
Thank you. I'll check. Sometimes I accidentally hit upload and don't actually put the link with it.